Got Your Back Podstream is brought to you by Kinprint. For all your company's promotional needs, they do it all. Apparel, promotional products using the highest quality brands. They do logo design, signage, and printing. Kinprint will promote your brand with excellence. Visit kinprint.ca. Well, that's more like it, isn't it? Oilers, 5-0 shutout win, closing out their road trip over the Washington Capitals. Jason Strudwick standing by to break it all down. Welcome to Got Your Back. YEG, brought to you by our great friends at Sherwood Buick GMC. Today and tomorrow had a great event going on. Their Black Friday sale, staff was all dressed up to the nines, so everybody could go in and take advantage of their $7,000 in discounts, finance cash, and trade-up bonus. Oh, look at the beautiful vehicles they have on the lot over at Sherwood Buick GMC. Visit Phil and the gang. Mention that Got Your Back sent you. You'll get great pricing, but you'll also get 3 free ultimate detail packages on a new or a used vehicle. So make sure you check out Sherwood Buick GMC. The website to check out is gmcpod.com. Coming to you from the Long Shot Studio here in Sherwood Park. Going to do another on location. Looking at the 30th potentially a little bit later on this month. So keep an eye on our socials. We'll announce that. And hopefully you can come on out and join us at Long Shots for an on location podcast as we check in with Jason Strudwick, buddy. Love the afternoon games, man. Love the afternoon games.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think that the outcome was nice. That's for sure. It makes it a little bit easier. I mean, listen, I want the Oilers to do well. And I enjoy watching hockey. I enjoy covering it. I mean, it's you know how hard these guys try. So when they're suffering, and whether it's the Oilers or any other team, when you're suffering and losing, I know that feeling. So really enjoyable to sit back. The kids were at school, just watching the game, enjoying it. It was great, Shogger. Great afternoon.
Do you have that same empathy for the Leafs when they're struggling? Like, does that include Leafs Nation?
I love to see the Leafs fans suffer, but I have a lot of respect for those Leafs players. I like a lot of the Leafs players. I think I should be clear. I like the Leafs players, but I love seeing them lose. Like today, the Leafs fans thought they're going to roll into Chicago and just tap in. And it was a tough one, right? They did get a point, but I love the Leafs fans. I love seeing them suffer. It just brings me so much joy.
That's interesting. I've never seen a guy go toe to toe with an entire fan base like you have. Like it's a whole fan base you're taking on.
You know what it is? I honestly think that the fans that know me or know what I'm about, they enjoy it because they know for the most part it's kind of good natured. But I do love it when they lose. And the guys from Overdrive on TSN Overdrive out there in Toronto, they have me on. They, the Oilers haven't been winning, so I haven't been on as much. But last year when both teams are winning, I just loved going on there. It brought me so much joy to chirp them.
We are live streaming on YouTube and on Twitter in our Ask Us Anything segment a little later on. Zuby. Chris, pop in here, pal. We got to give you a little nod. The Goaltenders Union is feeling pretty good today. The shout out for Stuart Skinner, buddy.
It was, you know what? It was real solid, calm, really calm. Like
that's your analysis. Calm.
When he's at his best, he's a calm guy. And let me tell you, I happen to be watching the Caps feed of the game today, and they said the word shutout twice, about 10 seconds apart, right before Ovi scored the goal that was disallowed because it was whistled back on the draw.
Oh, really?
I was sitting there watching it. I said, I thought, you buggers, you guys are trying to get, they were like good nature. They were good, but I thought awesome. You guys are trying to spoil this for him. I'm not kidding you. They said it twice leading up to that
I don't believe in that stuff. I don't believe in that stuff at all. That shutout talk. Like, that's just.
I risk it. Why risk it?
Really?
Oh, yeah. I don't want to talk about it. When it's a shutout, you don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. It's like the name that
Do you think the broadcast shouldn't? Like Gord Miller always says it. He's like, what we say up here does not matter. Gord Miller says it on broadcast and does not care.
how much experience does he have calling games?
True. That's a good point by you. He's a newbie. He will learn. All right, Zuby, we'll check back in with you during Ask Us Anything.
Just one other thing on that quickly. I'm sure Struds knows too. How often does it happen in football when they go, this guy hasn't missed an extra point in 75 tries?
Right.
Bing, off the bar every time.
True.
Dinesh Rant Signam, sorry if I mispronounced that last name, says, Strutty, we need you back on Overdrive. So you have a legion of fans on Overdrive that want you back there, Struds. Let's get to the breakdown, brought to you by Adrenaline Diesel, Edmonton's heavy-duty diesel truck repair shop, specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck and trailer repair. They do performance tuning and parts sales as well. They have 7 bays and a big dealer network. Their highly reviewed customer support team and professional diesel mechanics are ready to assist you with all of your needs. They know how to get the job done right. That is Adrenaline Diesel. Check them out at adrenalinediesel.ca. A lot of things that have been going wrong went really well today, Struds. And I think it's important we note that the Washington Capitals did not play very well today, but the Oilers had a lot to do with that. Where do you want to start on an afternoon where a lot of crap got straightened out, at least for one day here?
Well, let's start with the 2-0 lead, right? You get the 2-0 lead, and that seems to be the dreaded number for the Oilers, especially on this road trip. What was it? 2-2-goal leads vanished, and they were able to get there and just kind of keep playing. I think that they did what they talked about, or they'd wanted to do, is that, get up to 2-0 lead. You don't have to get the third right away. Just keep playing and wearing the other team down and doing the right thing. And I thought for the most part, that span right after it, they for the most part kind of managed the puck and managed the game really well on a road trip. On a road game with a team that was maybe a little sleepy, but they're also kind of chasing the game, similar to what we've seen the Oilers do in previous occasions.
Yeah, it felt like good things were maybe going to happen for them today when they get a couple of greasy ones right in tight, like right in the blue paint there, which we've talked a lot about the need to be there more often. It really earned that 2-0 lead with that type of play. And then, Struds, there have been so many nights where this power play that wanted to be more timely, they said that. How can you improve a power play coming into this season? It's the best of all time. And they said, we want to be more timely. They haven't been at all this season. 0 for 11 over a 3-game stretch. They were really timely and shifted this game big time.
This power play looked the way I remember it looking last
year.
We can talk about zone entries, but that's only part of it. Just the way that they managed the puck and handled the puck in the offensive zone. They were crisp and they were moving the puck. How can I say this? So far this year, it feels like the power play this year, when the player gets it, he's trying to figure out where he wants to go with it. Tonight, it felt like before the puck arrived to the player, he knew where he was moving it.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you as a defender how hard that is when you feel like you're not just a step behind. You might be 2-3 passes behind where these guys are going. So that's that quick puck move where they know where they're going. And you can do that when you're feeling confident, but you also do that when your passes are flat and crisp and on the tape, because now you don't have to look down and readjust. So this looks like the group we saw last year. And man, do they need this power play to kind of get going, because they not only do they score, Sugar, they also they get energy out of this, and they carried into their 5-on-5 play.
For the record, neither one of us is suggesting that Evan Bouchard is a player that the Oilers should be moving. We have not. We have chewed on him a lot on this podcast because, frankly, his defensive play has earned it so far this year. So, yeah, but it's like we have this reputation for just always, like we have some issue with Evan Bouchard. His play has deserved a lot of criticism this year. And so when he has a great game like he does today, I think it's important to note, like a lot of players turn themselves around today. But Evan Bouchard, for me, you talk about a guy that just looked like he knew where to go with it and was just playing on instinct and going well. And then that shot. This was a really good day for him.
The puck shrinks when it leaves his stick. Like when he shoots and passes it, the puck does shrink. And that's so difficult to defend. He had a really good game. And when he's on his toes and kind of defending with a little bit of more urgency, he's a much different player, because you look at his game. He's not the things we're looking at or we've criticized him on are very fixable, right? I played in the NHL for a long time doing what I'm telling him to do. And he's a better skater, probably smarter. Probably not as good looking, but he's
No, he's
got way
better
more
looking.
offensive skill. So he has all those things going for him. So these are the easy parts of the game that we're talking and wanting him to address, amongst other players as well. But when he does that, he is a very dangerous player. And I thought, there's even kind of was the second period maybe on the power play where he carried the puck all the way up and he's looking for Connor wasn't there. And I think he dumped it off to either Nuge or it might've been Leon, but either way, he's processing the game. Okay. I can't make that play. Where's my next guy? Boom. And he went to his right, I believe. And they carried it in and they had full control. That's what he does. And unfortunately, I think at times we take that for granted because he is so good when he's on, how good and easy that looks.
We'll get to the set play in Strutty's world. You want to talk a little bit about that set power play move where they go to Draisaitl's backhand. Yeah. We saw them pointing. Draisaitl explained that post game, and we've got that clip for you coming up a little bit later on. So that'll be in Strutty's world. Strutty's going to deal with that set play on the power play. I want to talk about Stuart Skinner here. We got to talk about him, and then we got to talk about the penalty kill. Those back-to-back glove saves in that one little sequence there, I really like that from Stuart Skinner. It was confident. He was all over it. He looked calm today, and he didn't look like he was scrambling to make saves. And he needed this, man. Like 100% he needed this. We'll go to the Weiss Johnson sound box. Here's Stuart Skinner on the afternoon.
Huge props to the guys in front of me. I will say on the PK, there's some huge blocks, especially in the third period where we're up 5 rep and we could easily not be in the lane. So it takes a lot of guts for the guys to get some block shots. That goes out to CC, Cooley, Vinny, Doc, all the guys. So yeah, it feels good. We played the right way all night.
Yeah, and that transitions nicely into a discussion about the penalty kill. But Skinner, big night, and that PK, 5-4-5, Struddy.
Yeah, that to me is huge. They have to get that going because when you're not scoring goals or your power play is not going, you have to be able to depend on your penalty kill to make stops. And I think they were making stops by the pressure they're putting on. It wasn't like Washington was throwing pucks away. I think they actually pressured Washington quite a bit, and they were really kind of they were thrown off by it, right? So the Oilers' intensity and pressure was knocking it down. I do think though, like I looked at the sheet, there weren't as many block shots as I thought there were. In my mind, there are more block shots. I might call them the defenseman or whoever was shooting had to kind of change their shot. And I think that's as valuable as a block shot, right? Because now
I thought the hit sheet was a little light on. I thought they were a little light on hits too. So maybe that's like a visiting building stats thing sometimes. Hey,
yeah. The old Kyle Potterbuck used to play in Minnesota, and after warm up was done, he'd have 3 hits already. It's like, what the hell's going on? How is that even possible? Like I hated that. And not that I was counting stats, but I'm like, it's so annoying. Oh, he's got 600 hits this year. He's got such a warrior, and he is. But I'm telling you, he got a lot of free hits there.
12 hits for the Oil on the sheet here, and blocks, to your point. They only had 9 block shots there, to your point. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, like, because I think like Darnell maybe had 2 or 3 and CC 2 or 3. Like, so again, it's dangerous to take full value for something like that. I think that they did get in more shooting lanes and just cause disruption on the shot. And that's all you have to do. Just don't make it comfortable for those guys to shoot the puck straight from the point.
Let's get back to the Weiss Johnson sound box. Of course, our good friends at Weiss Johnson until December 1st receive a complimentary duct cleaning. When you buy a new furnace, it's an exclusive deal that allows you to not only upgrade your heating system, but also improve the air quality in your home. Visit WeissJohnson.com.
Weiss Johnson, Weiss Johnson, whoa.
Post-game, Leon Draisaitl talking about the narrative that maybe, I don't know, players had given up or players didn't care. I haven't really heard a lot of people accusing this team of not caring. But when you listen to this answer, apparently Leon Draisaitl has.
We got a lot of guys in here that care a lot. And I think sometimes that's a little misunderstood towards the outside, which obviously is unfortunate. But, we care a lot. We want to win in here. And has there been times or games where it hasn't gone our way as a leadership group? Yeah, of course. Have we been at our best all year? Absolutely not. But, we a lot of pride in this room, and tonight was a good step.
I mean, they're not going to get 2 up with a win, right? This was a brutal road trip, flat out. And I'm not going to be a negative Nelly, but if we step back and go big picture for a minute, It's good the players aren't over celebrating here, Struds. This was a 1-4 or 1-3 road trip. It was a disaster, but they salvage it and can feel better flying home tonight.
Yeah, I mean, 2-2 would have been a lot better, obviously, and they had opportunities. That's the worst part. Especially the first game. But it could have been a complete disaster if they'd gone 0-4. So they find a way to grab 2 points against a team that was arguably playing the best of the four. Maybe, Florida's probably up there as well. But they were playing, a team that was very hot after kind of a slow start. And what I like today is we saw some smiles. Finally we saw some smiles. And I a lot of Oilers fans, well, they shouldn't be smiling, they're losing. I agree. But if you hate what you're doing and you hate the way you're playing and you hate all this stuff and angry, like you're not creating any energy. So I really like that there was some smiles, better body language on the bench. And I get it. You're winning 5-0. Even the grumpiest, even Daryl Sutter might smile. But they got a little bit. So I'm hoping this can be kind of a step in the right direction of getting some positive energy for this group.
2-1 for Draisaitl, 4 assists for McDavid, his first 4-point game of the season. I think Jack pointed out on the broadcast, he had 22 3-point games last year, which is nuts. And then Ryan Nugent-Hopkins gets off the schneid a little bit to 1, 2, and 3. He needs to continue putting up points, Nugent-Hopkins, and making a difference. And then Skinner with 25 saves. The point I wanted to make there with those three is, those guys, Zach Hyman was good today too. Evander Kane had a nice one. It was the leaders very much reawakening today. I saw mojo and moxie in their hands and their playmaking, Struds, that we haven't seen in a long time.
Well, the big thing is I really like these lines. I've been advocating to have Connor Leon on separate lines as well as Kane and Hyman. So say we saw that, right? It was Nuge with Brown and Nuge with Hyman
McDavid and Hyman. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you got Brown, Hyman, or McDavid and Kane, right?
Kane. No, you had Kane, Draisaitl, and Brown, and you had Nugent, Hopkins, McDavid, and Hyman.
Really?
That's what I had.
Really? Let me tell you. That's
what I got written down here.
Oh, geez. You are right. I have it written down. I have it wrong.
You got it written down. Whatever.
Okay.
You can't read your own handwriting.
That's weird. I looked. Okay, you're right. So you're right. I'll stand corrected. Either way.
Point being, he changed the lines. He separated them, which you have been saying for a while. Like it's time to do that.
Yeah, and they needed to do that. So they had, So anyway, so you're right. So my thing was they separated the two big guys, but they also separated Kane and Hyman. I don't think that Kane and Hyman together.
You did make that call.
Is good. Yeah. So I like that they separated those guys. What I wish I would have seen today is Connor Brown getting in the action, right? Everyone around in that top 6 was feeling it. I believe they all had at least 1 point and some more, obviously up to 4 points. So he's the only guy I believe that didn't get a point. And he needs to get in. This isn't because I'm saying it's a bad signing, but he needs to start getting points so he can start feeling like he's contributing. You're in that top 6, everyone around you is getting points, and you're getting nothing. So I recognize he's on the power play, but I like the way those lines are set up. I like McLeod and Fogle together. Derek Ryan is there. I don't know where Holloway is in his return, but I'd like to see Holloway get back there. And then we can kind of see what was intended to be. And that's assuming that everyone kind of continues to progress. Brown it gets his legs and starts, or has, his hands maybe follow his legs and get some points. And then we got Janmark and Ryan and someone else in that fourth line. So, you're getting closer to maybe seeing what the team looks like when they're actually all functioning. Yeah. But they now have 2 games, Anaheim and Vegas, that they're going to need all those guys doing that and more. Because that's, I believe, maybe not the Ducks as much, but definitely Vegas is a tough out.
Bob's your uncle says the Oilers improved in all the little areas where their detailing was blurry. Their gap management and timing was excellent. Strud, what did you notice from them tonight that allowed them to not give anything up? And we'll get to the Sportlogic stats in just a second here. But what did you see attention to detail wise from them?
What I like from the D-men is they were setting their gap properly early. Instead of backing off, because a lot of times when you're nervous, when you're scared, you back off, back away. And that's just human nature. The reality is you almost have to charge into that burning house and be right up on that guy so he can't get his speed going, and you kind of get your gap set sooner. So when you do that, it makes your life a lot easier. And now you move into a situation where your forwards are back checking harder because they see you standing up and everything just kind of works better. But what comes first, the gap for the D or the back checking? I'm not sure. I believe it's the D standing up. But I thought it was a lot better, tighter and cleaner, but more importantly, set early, Schauger.
Let's get to the inside the numbers. Courtesy our friends at Sport Logic. Zuby got the board together. Sport Logic and their advanced analytics. Give us a bit of a different look inside the numbers. How about that ozone time? 27:36 to 19:47. Wow. Slot shots on net, 16-9. The Oilers pretty dominant. Odd man rushes, 7-2. Oilers did a better job taking care of the puck, and in particular, taking care of it in the offensive zone, in the neutral zone. That's where offensive odd man rushes the other way are generated. They did a good job. And then scoring chances off the rush. Again, the Oilers have been a team that has been giving up far too much on this front and looking good here. 6-2. They end up winning the scoring chances off the rush battle. Taking a look at inside the numbers here, courtesy Sport Logic. Let's hear from the head coach, Chris Knobloch, on what he liked from his team. I think in particular, the start.
I think the most important thing was our start. I thought we had a good period in Carolina, and I think we just carried that over. All four lines are all the defensemen. Nothing too fancy, just keeping it a simple game and playing hard.
How about the role your power play?
Yeah, keeping it simple and playing hard. That's got to be refreshing for him to see his team play like that. I mean, that's his first look at truly what this team can be capable of.
Yeah, I'm glad Brownie's not here because I'm going to say something he'll disagree with. But simple does not mean unskilled. It means moving the puck up quickly, getting it up the ice, putting the pressure on the other team. The more time that the D-men spend going D to D in their own end or D to D at the top of their circles on a regroup, your forwards are just swinging around. They're like, just give us the puck. Just give us the puck. The other team's like, oh man, we got them. They've got nothing. We're going to stay up. We're going to stay up. So moving that puck, transitioning it up the ice as quick as you can and getting to the other team's zone, it's really hard for them to score from their end, on you. So I like that part of it. And simple does not mean unskilled. I think that, the casual fan is like, oh, they want to play an unskilled game. No, you want to get that puck up and I'll, at the end of the game, I'm in the third, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes left. Bouchard gets the puck behind the net. McLeod calls for it. He zigs it up to McLeod. He takes it and drives it wide. I'd like to see him drive it a little bit harder to the net, but he drove it wide and get in the zone. And, yeah. And so, he missed the net. Luckily, he hit the goalie's knob. But in that situation, that's a crisp, hard pass from Bouchard and just speed through the neutral zone. Boom, you're in the other team's end. You're out of the danger area. Now you can play in their end and do the ground and pound that I think the Oilers are, when they're really rolling, they can take extended shifts in the offensive zone.
McLeod putting one off the old goalie's knob there for sure. He found himself with a puck on his stick in the slot and panicked because he hadn't been there all year and fired it 3 feet wide. Anyway, we'll get to some of the McLeod questions and ask us anything. Zuby, you can take note of a few of those because some people are starting to ask about his play. Not that we want to be overly negative. One shot on net, 5 missed shots today. Was good in the faceoff circle, though, 75%. So we'll deal with a little bit of that in our Ask Us Anything segment. Strutty's appearance on the podcast today is brought to you by our great friends over at Kinprint, helping you find creative ways to promote your brand, high-quality apparel with top-of-the-line brands. Visit kinprint.ca. They can do embroidery. They can do a logo design. If you're a new company and you want to sort of start getting a feel for what your brand is, they can help you at that stage as well. So check them out at kinprint.ca. Very short break. When we come back, Strutty, you want to talk a little trade? I fired a few ideas out the other day, blew my Twitter feed up like crazy. But I still think they're in a zone where Ken Holland needs to be thinking about ways he can tweak this team. Should we talk a little trade when we come back? Is Strutty frozen? Okay. You're frozen on my screen. I'm not sure why. Oh. I hear you, but you've got a pensive look on your face, and it is completely frozen. We'll try and fix that during the break. Takeaways coming up next.
Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from United Sport and Cycle. Christmas is just around the corner and we've got everything you need for the athlete and sports fan on your list. With over 30 different sports under one roof, including hockey, bikes, ball, and our amazing fan shop, United is your one-stop shop for everything sport. Don't know what to buy? A United gift card is always a fan favorite. United Sport and Cycle, your Santa's workshop for over 95 years.
If you're looking for a night out on the town and want to make sure you and your fellow fun lovers arrive safe and in style, call Ahmed Enterprises. With their stretch limos and party buses, they can accommodate groups up to 22. Servicing Edmonton and area, Ahmed Enterprises provides luxurious, reliable, professional transportation. Whether it be weddings, parties, casino nights, game night at the arena, or any occasion, give them a call at 780-231-6018 or check them out online at ahmedenterprise.com. Mention Got Your Back sent you to get 10% off your luxury ride.
Long Shots Golf is the destination for both golf enthusiasts and sports fans. Top-of-the-line TrackMan simulators provide a highly entertaining and accurate golf experience, while a full-service sports bar loaded with big screens and scratch kitchen make it a truly unique destination. They have locations in Sherwood Park in Edmonton. Experience the best indoor golf and sports bar in town. Visit longshots.ca. That's longshots with a Z.ca. All right, Strutty's back in the flesh. Time for takeaways brought to you by Martin Motorsports. Ride in style this winter. The snow is coming. Anytime now, it's coming. And when it does, you know where to get your sledding gear and your toys from Martin Motorsports. They got brands like Klim, 509 to B, and of course Skidoo. Their new 2024 lineup of winter gear is available now. If you use the code GOTYOURBACK at checkout on their online store, you get $20 off your next order from Martin Motorsports online store. Easy and convenient, and it ships right to your door. Happy to have the good people over at Martin Motorsports on as sponsors of our takeaway segment here today. Struds, we got into a big discussion the other night about Ken Holland and the need to do something. I did some additional reporting the next day. What I reported was that my sense is their first round pick is not necessarily in play right now to find a fix for this situation. Pretty much everything else is outside of McDavid and Draisaitl, right? Second rounders, prospects, other draft picks, guys on their roster. I think Ken Holland is willing to deal, but that first round pick, they're going to be very, very careful with. Was my reporting yesterday. So let's start there. What do you think about a cautious approach to fixing a problem they're having in the moment using that first round pick, given where they are in the standings and the danger, even if you lottery protect it? So you push it to next year? Are you sure it's going to be better next year?
Well, I believe use a first rounder when you're trying to go all in, right? At the end of the year to finish what you feel is a spot you need. And I believe they did that last year with Matthias Ekholm. That was like, we're going all in.
Yeah.
We know what we need to get. We're going to address the situation, get it all fixed. And it was a bit of a longer term situation with Ekholm. So, we don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, they won today. I believe are they 8 spots out of the playoffs? The next wild card spot is Seattle. 2 games in hand in Seattle. Now there are other teams that will probably get some points and catch up, but they're 8 points behind with 2 games at hand. With whatever 63 games left. So it's doable. Like this, the math is it's doable. It's hard, but it's doable. So the lineup looked great today, and that's the way the team should look. That's how they should play. That's what we expect from them. Even with no moves, this is a playoff team. They just haven't shown that. So I agree with the idea of not moving your first rounder. But you probably want to tweak this group. And then where and what do you want to tweak would be the next question.
Right. So this was the other part of my reporting yesterday. So outside of the goalie and the D-man, right? We all know that they could put their first round pick in play and Broberg or whoever and go probably make some deal that GMs see this Ken Holland coming 100 miles away right now. So I'm sure he's got a desk full of bad deals that could maybe fill a hole for him, but are going to be just grotesque in terms of assets. So setting aside the big goalie and the big defenseman deal, what are some other options? We talked about it the other night. So you identify elements that this team needs. I think they need some Stanley Cup pedigree. I think it hurts them that they don't have that in there, given they're a Stanley Cup hopeful, at least they were. So I think that could help them. I think more physical prowess, somebody that can drop the mitts a little bit, someone who can be physical, someone who can drag some guys into the fight. Because there aren't enough guys in the lineup that think that way. You don't want Evander Kane and Darnell Nurse having to do it. They play too many minutes. And then I think someone who's positive in the dressing room, like someone who would be a good integration into the room, positive, upbeat, lighthearted, and and can build good relationships. And so I floated the name Patrick Maroon. Now, I don't know if he's available, though there was an article today, I believe, on The Athletic about how Minnesota is willing to deal on a bunch of different stuff. But Patrick Maroon, to me, isn't a fix-all, but he definitely checks those 3 boxes, and that's why I floated that name out there. If I were the Oilers, I would absolutely be looking in to see if Patrick Maroon were available because, he is all 3 of those things. What do you think, buddy?
Yeah, so that was a guy I actually brought up in the summer. I thought they should look towards the trade deadline to bring him in. So what does he bring? He brings a ton of energy to a group, right? He is a big mouth, and that's a compliment. That's not a bad thing. He would shake this locker room up just the way he talks, and he has, 4 trips in a row to Stanley Cup Finals. So he's been there and done it. Could you imagine a team with Maroon and Kane? I mean, oh my God, if you're a physical player on the other team, you'd be hearing from those guys all night long. So he's a guy that checks a lot of boxes. He doesn't have a like blazing speed, but I'll share this. So when I was with the Rangers, they decided to sign a Russian instead of me the next year, and kind of fell apart. And my deal with another team fell apart. So I went to Europe. I go to Switzerland. On the way home, I get a call in the airport, and they're like, "Hey, you know what? It's my agent. The Rangers want to sign you for the rest of the year because they have so many injuries. Would you come back and play there?" I'm like, "Yeah, for sure." So I was in Toronto. I flew all the way back. I'd flown from Milan to Toronto, got that call, flew all the way to Edmonton. The next morning, got back on the plane and flew all the way back to Atlanta with my Rangers gear. And the guys didn't know I was coming. They wanted to surprise the guys. And I went in there and, like, not to be cocky, but it was like a shot in the arm of excitement for the team because I think everyone wanted me back previously. And I was so excited. I was flying around and I knew I couldn't play in the playoffs. And so I played, I think there was 10 games or 11 games left. I think I played 9 or 10 of them. And then I was just around. Then they said, "Will you stay for the playoffs and just practice with us?" I'm like, "Let me get this straight. You want me to stay in New York and just hang out? Never going to have to play a game. I can go out every night and just practice."
No fights.
Like, yeah, that's exactly what you want to do. I'm like, "That's exactly what I'll do." So I did it. And we had the best time. And so you bring Patty Maroon back into this room, I believe it'd be a shot of energy. I think he has a good relationship with a lot of players on the team. So it makes a lot of sense right now. The cost, let's talk about the cost. I don't think we're dealing in a high draft pick here. And that's no disrespect to Pat at all. Because what was he moved from Tampa for? Wasn't it like a 6th or a 5th or something?
I can't remember, but I mean, I think he's got a couple of goals. I'm just checking it again here quick just to see if there's anything since I suggested it. So he's got 9 points in 17 games, 13 penalty minutes. He's got a couple of goals, but 9 points in 17 games for a depth player, like that's better than a lot of what the other depth guys are doing right now.
It is. So whatever that cost is, you probably are going to make it happen. But again, we've seen this in the Oilers, and whether they're winning Stanley Cups in the 80s, good teams the last little while, there's always that guy that just kind of get the team fired up. We saw at times with Zach Kassian. We've seen it at times with Klim Kostin. We've seen it with Pat Maroon. We've seen it with Matty Hendricks, right? Those guys that just kind of, they light up a room when they go into it and just provide a little bit of energy and then a voice for the group.
What about going back to the Detroit Red Wings and saying, okay, it's clearly not working for you. Klim Kostin was good when he was an Oiler, right? His best hockey. Now, I believe there are 2 reasons why he didn't re-sign here, and I think it's like 50-50 as to which was more the reason. I think it was money, number 1, and 1B was I think he felt he wasn't used fairly, that he wasn't given enough ice time. I think the way that he was used, I think, was frustrating for him, and I think he was ready to leave. Well, Jay Woodcroft ain't here anymore. There's a new coach in town, and the team needs what he brought. He would be an alternate option to say a guy like Patty Maroon. If you can get the Wings to eat half that salary, what do you have to give them in return? Then obviously you got to move some stuff around. But would a revisit with Klim Kostin make any sense to you?
Yeah. So I spoke about this after when his time was coming to the end of the Oilers. I said he just started getting traction in the NHL on a team, and then it's always dangerous to go somewhere else because you're not a surefire lockdown player. You're an NHLer, but you're not quite there yet. So, I think that Clean so far, he's gone over there. And you take a look at his minutes, they're all sub 10 minutes roughly, right? I'm guessing he's averaging around nine and change, whatever, somewhere in there. So not maybe a little bit higher than last year, but again, I've seen this. With all due respect, you're a fringe player. So just going somewhere else, it's not automatically going to be better. And that's the risk, right? You're an unknown commodity on that team. So I always felt, and I said it at the time, it would be a risk for him to leave. Now, would I bring him back? Yes. But I'm not bringing him back at $2 million.
100% no. No, you got to get
it.
Detroit to eat some of it, right?
Yeah, and you're not paying for that. You're not paying for them to eat it. That is their signing. That's not your signing.
Yeah.
That's their signing, right? So
you're taking him off their hands. Yep, that's fair.
100%.
Good point by you. Yep.
That is not your signing. You traded him there, and they signed him to a $2 million contract. So yeah, I would put a call over there, but I'm very clear. Like, hey, Stevie, listen, man, that's not our signing. He is $1 million player. He is $1 million player. Look what he's done for you guys. He's playing. He has very minimal minutes up there. He's got 15 games. What I think a goal and assist or something. Like, that's your signing. That's not our problem. That's your problem. And I'm sticking to my guns on that one, because this is not one where you take him at all costs. You'll take him at whatever, a reduced price, but you are not taking him at the full bang, because you wouldn't want to pay that before for him.
Another guy that'd be so good for the Oilers. I know his name has been mentioned before, but Scott Lawton out of Philadelphia would really help this team. He'd be a good fit too. Again, a bigger deal. You'd have to figure out how to make it work. And I just think those loftier deals are, like Gino Reda asked me the question yesterday, what's realistic to expect from Ken Holland? And I think it's important to kind of acknowledge that, there are not going to be many great deals that are handed to him right now, but I still think, and Brownie and I had a great debate about this the other night, I still feel like doing something to try and move the needle in that room, providing one of those three, like whatever elements you think they need, even just finding a player that adds one of those elements, I think could make a difference for this group.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to float another name out there. And it's not quite, not a real physical player. Big though, hasn't won a Stanley Cup.
Okay.
Sean Monahan, Montreal Canadiens.
Right.
Reasonable cap hit. This is what I'm thinking. He allows you to maybe maneuver things around in a different way. Right now, you probably couldn't keep all the 3 centermen you have currently, right? All the 4: Connor, Leon, McLeod, and Nuge. But he's off to a good start. It seems like he's kind of gotten over the injury. He's had, numerous injuries. We saw when he left Calgary and he got there last year. So that's a guy that I would be interested in to kind of bolster that top 9 and most likely their third line center, because that's an area that a lot of people want to address. I wonder if there's not an option there.
6 goals, 13 points. I mean, I don't mind it. Like, as a third line center or whatever position you want to put him in, he's not going to achieve less than Ryan McLeod has to this point, I would say. So yeah, I think you need to think about reclamation projects and such a little bit, right? Overall, he has been a dramatically underwhelming player for the last number of seasons, right? Yeah. Talking about a guy that had multiple 30-goal seasons and then just fell off a cliff. So yeah, I like it, man. Bring the ideas. If you have any ideas, send them to us, and we'll get to them in our Ask Us Anything segment. But that was Takeaways, brought to you by Martin Motorsports. When we come back, our to-be-named segment still. Now, there was a suggestion made on the stream last podcast, and Randine, my wife, who watches, she works with me at Rev Media, and she watches all the pods. It slipped past us, but somebody threw in on the stream, taking a lap. I don't mind taking a lap. It's where you look around the league, you pick 2 points. What do you think? Taking a lap. Time to take a lap. Time to take
I love
a lap.
taking.
Brought to you by Backscape. What do you think?
I love taking. I think that's a great place to start. I think we all can agree the first word should be taken. A peek.
Taking a peek? You like peek better than lap? Taking a peek?
I do.
Okay, let us know. Izubi, throw up a poll when you can. Taking a peek versus taking a lap.
Yeah, you get. How did it slip by you and Randine when I literally said it in the Ask Us Anything? I brought up taking a lap.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I tune you out during that segment.
I know.
That's normally when I do some TikToking and I do some other stuff.
That was the 3-man booth, so that is, you do actually sit back and let me run that one.
I know. It's been a disaster. The numbers fall off a cliff. Short break. When we come back, taking a peek, taking a look, taking a lap, sprinkling the infield. Lots more to come. Okay, heroes, are you trying to tough it out through a sports or life injury right now? Trying to prove your mettle by grinding through, gritting your teeth? Well, Redefined Health is here to say it's time to come on in. At Redefined Health, they'll high-five you for your toughness and then get to work on helping you fix the problem. Helping athletes and heroes find better balance, performance, and injury prevention. Visit redefinedhealth.com.
Are you ready to elevate your moving experience? Trusted for over 100 years, Ferguson Moving and Storage are your partners in relocation, ensuring your journey is smooth and stress-free. And say goodbye to surprises with Ferguson's transparent flat rate pricing. Contact them now for a free moving quote and use a promo code Ferguson to receive $100 off your next move. Visit fergusonmoving.com and let them lift your expectations.
All right, welcome back to the podcast. Time now for Taking a Lap. Taking a peek. Brought to you, Strutty, by...
Very proud to take a peek, obviously, and we're proud to have Backscape be a part of it. The product is taking the online world by storm right now. It is everywhere. Get rid of unwanted back hair by yourself. That's the key. By yourself with Backscape. The water-resistant rechargeable shaver, coupled with the long handle, lets you take care of business on your own. Shave in any direction with no bumps or cuts. It's easy and it's awesome. Visit backscape.com, that's bakscape.com, and choose from a variety of packages delivered right to your door. And they have their biggest sale of the year, 30 to 50% off right now. So check it out at backscape.com.
The guy in the video throws me off every time. That's a big dude they picked for that video.
Big guy. I know.
He's a big, strong man in there.
I shouldn't have worked out that morning.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a peek around the league. We'll start with a story.
Take a lap around the league.
Out of Minnesota. Marc-Andre Fleury
Yes.
wanted to honor his wife's heritage. She's Indigenous, and he had a Cole Red Hawk Taylor did a mask for him up to be worn, and a very cool looking mask. Those flowers were hand painted. The NHL got wind of it, and they said they were going to fine him if he wore it. So the flower said, "Well, I'm just going to wear it anyways." And when the NHL found that out there, and he was going to pay the fine, the Wild were threatened with a bigger, more significant fine. So in the end, he backed it down, and he was unable to wear it. So this is part of that policy of the league trying to manage expressions of individualism when it comes to different situations. Earlier in the year, I believe it was Logan Thompson out of Vegas was going to wear have a cancer ribbon on his mask, and that was not allowed. But 2 other goalies had been allowed to wear it. So it's a lot of mixed messaging here. I believe that goalies' helmets should have been and should be kind of free reign. You can 100%. Do whatever you want. I believe, quite honestly, I think the mistake that Fleury made, and unfortunately, was tweeting out that this was going to happen or letting it get out. Just wear the mask, don't say anything, then ask for forgiveness later.
Completely agree. Like, the NHL is bungling this file so badly. Now they went, they overturned their decision on Pride Tape, which, okay, good, right? They clearly botched that one and they fixed that. But this stuff is getting flat out stupid now. And this is dumb. Like, this player should be allowed to do this. Players should be allowed to, at least in warm-up. Why would you not have it? Wear whatever you want in warm-up. Be an individual. Like, let your flags fly, man. Like in warm-up. How can that be an issue? I can't believe that the NHL has bungled this as badly as they have. And now the PR disaster that's going to be the NHL fining a player for trying to honor something such as Indigenous history within his family on a night to celebrate that. It's crazy the path the NHL has gone down here, Struds. They're all twisted up and on the complete wrong side of this thing.
They are. You look at goalies, many times they have pictures of their families or more, not their family, their kids, their children, sometimes past goalies. So I think that it's just, I think they really stepped in one here, and I don't understand why. And it's a mistake. Keeping up, heading over to Chicago. Good young team, exciting young team. I won't say good young team. Obviously they've got Bedard, they've got some other players, Lucas Reichel. They're now no Taylor Hall, but they won today in against Toronto today, 4-3 in overtime. And the game winner was scored by Western Canadian product, Kevin Korchinski. This guy is a good young player. I think that Oilers fans and the NHL are going to quickly figure out what this guy's all about. He played 23 minutes tonight. He's a young player, and not a beautiful goal, but he was in there. The last goal is 3-on-3. It was he and Bedard out there, and another one of the players just flying around, and he gets towards the net. But this young guy, like, you're starting to see the pieces here, right? You got Bedard. Obviously, I think he's maybe like Patrick Kane. Like, if you're going to try, not that he plays like him, but just kind of fits in that highlight reel. And then Korchinski, is he like Keith? Is he maybe like Seabrook? Maybe somewhere in the middle of those two guys. Maybe I'd lean a little bit closer to Seabrook from what I've seen of him. But they're starting to drop some pieces in place here. But he is like, so keep that in mind. Kevin Korchinski, good young player, Schauger with the Hawks.
Tough break for them with Taylor Hall being done here. Like, Taylor Hall was brought in to play next to Connor Bedard, a guy that understands the pressure of being a first overall pick. I mean, he'll be able to still be there and advise him and be a buddy and all those things. Yeah. But that's a big loss. Hey,
it's huge. It's huge. You think you're going to have them, and they weren't always playing together, but it's just another guy that's kind of been around there and has done it. And, Taylor is, he had a tough year. He got hurt early, came back and hurt again. I mean, out for the year now. So yeah, big hurt for them. So now they're a very kind of top heavy line, or top heavy team. Like, who else do they have right now? So pretty thin, and Bedard is doing what he can, and he's doing great, but it's going to be, it's exciting, but I think it's going to get difficult here as the teams continue to kind of lock down, and going to be heavy sledding for the Blackhawks here heading forward.
Interesting to see the situation with Corey Perry as well. I know when he kind of went MIA there, a lot of people were thinking there was a trade coming to Edmonton, and a bit of an odd one there. But between Taylor Hall and Corey Perry suddenly not in the mix, that really changes the dynamic there quite a bit.
What is that? 1,800 NHL games that are out the door.
Yeah,
that's a lot. You when you're a young player and you're looking around the room, it's like Bedard doesn't know where the dressing room is in every dressing room. Or in every arena. He hasn't been in every arena, right? He's looking around like, where do we go? And I remember that feeling. You walk into, you have no idea which way is the ice, where's the bathroom, like all that stuff, right? And not that that's all that Taylor Hall does, but it makes a difference. All
right, that was 2 Point Convo brought to you by our good friends. Still in the running. It's still in the running, Strutty.
It is not in the running.
Brought to you by our great friends over at Backscape. All right, when we come back, Strutty's World. Well, that little set play that Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid rekindled on the power play today, there's a bit of a history to that. We'll fill you in on those details, and Strutty's got an opinion on it coming up. Very short break. Stay with us. The Edmonton Sport and Social Club is YEG's top destination for adult recreational sports, offering over 20 different options, including ball hockey, indoor volleyball, pickleball, and now ice hockey for all you fans out there looking to lace them up for the first time or get back into the game after a few years off, like Strutty. Sign up by December 13th for the winter season beginning mid-January at edmontonsportsclub.com.
Winter is upon us, so why not make the best of it? Marmot Basin Ski Resort is where it's at. Ski half price every day, no blackout periods. Pick up your escape card for $99 and make winter fun more affordable. Half the price, all the powder. Get yours at www.skimarmot.com.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy. Gotta look good.
Time for Strutty's World, brought to you by Pathfind. In the world of business, just like in hockey, strategy matters, right? So consider this. When it's time to make tough decisions of employee layoffs, including Pathfind outplacement services for your transitioning employees, is like ensuring your team always has a solid defense. Help your employees make a seamless transition to their next career goal. Visit www.pathfind.ca to see how they can assist you in creating a winning game plan for both your company and for your valued employees. Struds, do you want to play the clip from Leon Draisaitl right away, or do you want to throw to it in Strutty's World?
No, let's drop it. Drop it like it's hot.
Okay, put some reference on it though, because the players, like, tell us about the goal and then the players and their pointing.
So the Oilers scored a power play goal, and what it was Leon picked the puck up on his backhand from a pass from Connor, and he kind of stuck his butt out. Then he turns and fires the puck on net. It creates space, and I guess over the last couple of days they've been talking about who maybe created it. But it's immediately after the goal was scored, Leon pointed to the bench, and everyone was wondering where it was and why he was pointing at the bench. Here's the explanation from Leon Draisaitl.
Obviously, Connor and I, we've scored a couple goals like that before, and Brownie a couple days ago, he dared to say that he invented the play in juniors, I guess. So we've been dying to score one of those here, and obviously it was great timing, and so yeah, kudos to Brownie for inventing it.
That's like what you did with the Patrick Maroon thing today. You're like, that was my idea back in I said in the summer.
It was, and we have it on tape. That's actually on tape. We don't have Connor Brown to say he invented this, but I've got this on tape. Yeah, so it's a good play. And we've seen Connor and Leon do this before, but I'm not so worried about the outcome of that was a goal. And it's important for the guys to get goals. They've been struggling a little bit in the power play. What I love about it is two things. One, the energy that brings a group. Everybody was smiling. Everyone is cheering. The guys are up on the bench, and imagine what that does to a group. That just sends great energy through everyone. The second thing, it gets Connor Brown involved. He feels like he was involved because everyone's looking at him saying, Brownie, that's your play. That was the play you called. Like, look at Brownie. So now he gets a little bit or more energy than other guys going through it. You've heard me talk about it many times, how important it is to create energy when you're in a funk, and they've been in a complete funk. Well, this was a massive shot of energy in the arm, specifically to Connor Brown, but overall to the team as well. And every time they do that, they're going to be fired up. Guys, this is a great turning point for this team. It's the most we've seen these guys smile all season.
Power play goes 3 for 4, and they were not messing about, like getting it done fast. Sure. They were ninja fast a couple of times. I really like that set play. There's only specific times where it works and where it doesn't work, Struds, but it's not as easy a play for Draisaitl as one might think. To pick it up on the backhand and then pick that corner, the way he's got to shift his weight and move around, it's not that simple for him, is it?
Well, it's kind of scary because you're actually blind to what's in front of you. Right?
Yeah.
Because you're looking back. So, and it's pretty hard for a demon to really get a hard hit there. You could get a decent hit on him, but you're kind of standing still. So it'd be more of a shove, right? More than a real hard hit. But you're blind. You're just looking over his shoulder and you're blind. You get it. But it's going to find a little bit of pocket of quiet ice. And you catch it on your back and then you turn and shoot it right away. So it's a great play. And if they don't do it the rest of the year, that's fine. But you know what? The other teams will be thinking about it. When he goes and sets up, they're like, what is he doing here? So it's just another layer for the other teams to kind of unravel. And that we haven't seen enough of that. How often we see earlier in the year, just keep trying to feed Leon in that one spot. Yeah. And he's a killer from that spot, but move him around, score from different areas. So now they have to worry about other spots and you get inside their head. So a lot of value to that play today. Obviously the power play is good, but a lot of value to that play, both for the power play, but I think more importantly, Shocker, to the energy of the team as a whole.
Yeah, totally agree. And it's a great point. Was there something in Washington's penalty kill? Like, was it just me, or were they collapsing and playing that tight box and giving the Oilers lots of time and space with the puck? Did not feel like they brought much pressure.
No, they didn't, but I'm guessing that's probably their plan. Who did I hear talking before the game? Someone said they're trying to just got to limit this power play, right? And so by limiting it, not allowing them zip it through the box, right? Or your diamond or whatever, 1-2-2, whatever you want, 1-2-1, sorry. That's what I think they're really trying to just play tight. But the Oilers are moving around well. Then they got a couple lucky bounces. But hey, they haven't had a lot of lucky bounces on the power play this far this year.
No question. All right, that was Strutty's World, brought to you by our good friends over at Pathfind. Time now to get you involved on the stream, and we saved a little extra time for it today. We've been blitzing through the podcast, so it is brought to you by Renee Buclan, Shark of the Park, of Maxwell Devonshire Realty. Renee's all about amazing service for her clients, because buying a house is a big deal, right? So you need someone you know you can trust, and who you know is working 24/7 to either sell your home or help you find a brand new one. Call Renee at 780-994-0280. She's a massive Oiler fan, as you can tell from her the graphic above Strutty's head there. She has been living and dying with the ups and downs of the Oiler season this year. Give Renee Buclan a call. All right, Zuby. Before you start, Zuby, on Ask Us Anything, we were asked a question, I believe, by Davin, who said, Ryan, would you like to clarify turning off your mentions? And I didn't know what he meant, Zuby, so I asked him to clarify. So I sent a tweet yesterday with a conversation between Gino Retta and I. We did like 5 or 6 minutes talking about the Edmonton Oilers and trade speculation and trade talks and all that kind of stuff. And then I tweeted it. So I'm just taking a look here. Apparently, someone said I turned off my mentions when I tweeted that. So that was unintentional if I did that. I didn't mean to turn off my mentions in a tweet of that content whatsoever. I think what happened is the previous night, I did turn my mentions off for a statement that I wanted to make. That was in regards to the whole spec Tim Peel thing. I felt strongly about that. I had an opinion about it, but I didn't want to engage in a big, long discussion. So I just said what I had to say, turned my mentions off. And then I think accidentally, maybe they remained off. So very seldom do I ever turn my mentions off. And if they were on that tweet with Gino and I, that was completely inadvertent. So apologies for that.
Oh, all right then. All good. Okay. Do you want to hear the results of the informal poll? I wrote right in the poll. This is non-binding. Only between the two names of Taking a Lap and Taking a Peek. 31 votes in it is 61% for Taking a Lap, 38% for Taking a Peek. I'm not sure though that they don't have the benefit of the little bit of background Struds gave that he put in the chat.
It's outrageous.
When I described what it was supposed to be, Strutty making 2 points. Ridley Chen chimes in. Ridley Chen chimes in and says, "There it is. Strutty drops a deuce."
That is very funny.
That's good. Well done, Ridley.
Yeah.
Neil Garrity, also, friend of the show here, wanted to make sure that he said Taking a Lap could be McLeod's nickname.
Oh, yeah.
Ouch.
Low-hanging fruit. But, of course, we did have some question. Ryan, you said I stopped. So Michael Bruni asked, he says, question Rishaug will like. What does McLeod do to deserve a spot in the lineup every day? He's not contributing much of anything. I told him that's trolling. We're having a happy day, but then you said, bring him on. So bring him on. What's your response to that?
Struds, why don't you start on McLeod? Because I think people know where I'll go, but you're a lot more sort of calm and reasoned on this one.
So there's a lot of things I like about it. Obviously, his skating ability, he's a good puck handler. I would like to see him play more between the dots rather than outside the dots. And I mentioned an example earlier in the show where I think I want to say it was in the third period, but the puck was passed up from Bouchard up to McLeod. He just speed right through the neutral zone, and then he gets it and just kind of stays outside and takes a backhand instead of driving the net. Now, there might not have been a lot of opportunity to drive the net, but we've seen that too often. It's very difficult to score outside the dots. You've got to get inside those dots to get chances. Even when you drive the net, even if you don't score, often there's chaos left behind you, and that means a juicy rebound for someone else to knock in. So that willingness to drive the net hard and sacrifice yourself, like we see Connor McDavid do often, is what he's got to kind of get to. He's got to find that level. So I believe if he unlocks that, you can overlook maybe, some of the less less desirable things in his game, like the not wanting to be physical, but driving that, use your speed. God, if I had speed like that, I'd drive the net all the time.
So the Oilers have a third line center who's got 24 shots on net in 19 games.
Yeah.
The Oilers have a third line center who isn't scoring, hasn't scored a goal yet. And I don't think it's unreasonable to say, okay, if you go dry, it happens. Although, what is it, like 39 or 40 games going back to the playoffs? Whatever. If you go dry, fine. What are you doing? If you're not scoring, if you're not contributing, what are you doing? So you got a guy that's got 15 hits, not making any reasonable effort to be physical at all. And I know it's not his game. What is his game, though? A speed perimeter game is the answer right now. And that's entirely not good enough. And it's been the same since he arrived. And there's been no reasonable improvement in it other than, for some reason, in the playoffs, he sometimes can figure it out. The Edmonton Oilers have zero chance of winning a Stanley Cup with Ryan McLeod as their core third center against the other team's big boys. Zero chance. This guy does not have the jam, the gamesmanship, the spirit that's going to be required. If he can't show it through 19 games of desperate hockey from his team, it does not exist. He's had some spurts in the playoffs, and that's it. I like Ryan McLeod. He's got a great skill base. I think there's so much there. But if he's the answer at 3C for this team, it's the wrong answer.
Well, we spoke about in the offseason that, he has to take another step. Bouchard has to take another step. Holloway has to take another step, right? All these guys that we kind of outlined that need to take another step forward. And so far this year, we haven't seen really any of them take a step, right? Now, to be fair, it's hard at times as a young player to lift your whole team up. But those three guys, I think Bouchard's coming around. Holloway's been injured, and we know about McLeod.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. I had my say.
Okay. A little bit of love for a couple guys we haven't mentioned yet today. Maybe you guys have some thoughts on. Dave says Desharnais was noticeably decent today. High praise. And Davin said Cece was dialed in. What did you guys think of either of them?
Struds?
Yeah, Cody is, allegedly the strongest guy in the team, right? They talk about that coming out of the room. And today he showed it. He was throwing guys around. And I'd love to see more of that from Cody. We talk about McLeod stepping out of his comfort zone. I don't think Cody is naturally that way, but they need him. They need him to do that. And I think it was the third period where Nurse tossed a guy and then CC went on the other side and tossed a guy. Like, that makes a difference. It just slows the other team down and gives them a pause before coming in their end. So that was fine. Vinny, he was moving the puck quicker. I think that, Capitals kind of maybe slowed down a little bit. But the big challenge for the Oilers D as a whole is to get the puck up to the forwards as fast as you can. The less time the puck is on Desharnais' stick, the better for everybody. And that's not because I think he's a bad player. It's because you need to get the puck up as fast as you can to them. They're swinging through. They want that puck. Deliver the puck to them quickly. So I don't, people get excited. Oh, the big man's carrying the puck. No, the big man shouldn't carry the puck. The big man should pass it up, just like Cece should pass it up. That's Kulak. Same thing. Move the puck up. Support. You don't lead the rush.
Yeah. Said it well. I don't need to chime in on that one, Zoobs.
Okay. Hockey Guy says, do you guys make any sense of Nurse's decision to still not wear a lid in warm-ups today? You guys have any thoughts on that? After
Stubborn and ridiculous. Now, I think Gene did a report during the game that he said he'll probably wear one next game. But to go out there today just to prove a point that it wasn't as dumb as everybody thinks to wear no helmet in warm-up, so much so I'm doing it again today after getting my face busted open. Stubborn and dumb. And I don't understand it at all.
How many NHL games are there a year? 1,300 or something? Is that what it is? Something like that. Rarely an instant. Rarely. And so he goes out there, and when you're a hockey player, you have to think you are bulletproof, 10 feet tall and bulletproof. So I don't know, probably doesn't want to wear a helmet. Don't wear the helmet. We're not the one with the broken nose, right? Just go and do your thing and keep wheeling around.
Struds, your team needs you if you're Darnell Nurse. Your team needs you. And for something so ridiculous, like had that been a little bit worse, maybe he's unable to play in that game. What's the point of that? What have you proved? It makes no sense. And it's the league is getting rid of this and should be. I understand it. Fine. You don't have one and you're skating around. You're getting away with it 90% of your career. You just got your face busted open all over the place. Yeah. Your luck's run out. Put a helmet on. But nope, wheeling around like I'm still not going to wear a helmet today. Black eyes and everywhere. Come
No
on.
problem. I've got no problem with it. Let's address guys that don't have their sleeves pulled down, or guys that, those are the issues I think that we
How
have to
about
go
Leon
over.
taking the heel in the sternum today and then
Yeah.
kind of reaching and checking like, man,
Yeah,
oh man, hey,
scary.
big time.
Okay, we did a little bit of trade speculation, a couple names that didn't come up. It sounds like we've kind of, the Corey Perry thing has been put to bed, but Dave mentioned that. And also he said, Peter Mrazek, what do you make of that? Is there, some ties back to Ken Holland? Is there anything there with Peter Mrazek?
Yeah, I mean, anytime that there's a goaltending situation happening anywhere, we're going to jump to conclusions and think that it's the Edmonton Oilers. 904 save percentage here through 11 games, 3.24 goals against average. People went berserk when I tweeted that don't be surprised to see Jack Campbell get another opportunity here. Let's see what happens. But he pitched a shutout the other day, and I think he's going to start again this weekend. And if he puts, what's the number, Struds? How many starts does Jack Campbell need to put together that are solid before you're like, give him another look? Especially, like Pickard's been fine. Skinner has taken a step here. But if Pickard doesn't, throw a really, really strong start out there, why not?
I don't have a number. I have a time. I wouldn't bring him up till the new year.
Wow. Really?
I joke about it, but I mean, you go down, you just look at the AHL. It doesn't mean you're back to normal, right? Like this is a deeply ingrained situation in Jack Campbell that he is fighting the demons in his head when he's playing goal. And demons are the wrong word, but he's fighting his own confidence battle in his head. So one good game he had, was it 3 or 4 bad ones before that in the American League?
Yeah.
And listen, I want this to work out. Like I advocated for Jack Campbell last year when no one else was advocating for him, saying you're going to need him, But I believe I would leave him down there. I would not look at him till the new year. I honestly feel that way. He needs time to figure it out.
Even if he's playing well and Pickard is middling.
Yeah. What I want is I want him to be pissed when he comes back up, pissed off. Because when you're pissed, that means you're not thinking about what you're doing. You're just plain mad. And I think that's what you want from Jack Campbell.
Well, Strutty, my sense is that's not the plan. My sense is we could see him here if he puts a couple more decent starts together. So let's wait and see. All right, that was Ask Us Anything, brought to you by the Shark of the Park, Rini Bouclan. Final segment of the day.
Oh, quickly, 2 last things on the segment name. Nick said, think I might head to the Pint tonight to take a peek myself. So Nick kind of gets it. Nick kind of gets it.
You get it. You get it.
And one other thing, and this was good. I don't think anybody's mentioned this before. Talking Truth says, what about blazing through the league, or blazing through the loop, as he called it, with the nod to the Kamloops Blazers, of course.
Yeah. We are an all Blazer alumni pod. Makes sense. Blazing through the loop. That's a little verbose.
Maybe through the league. Or blazing.
My sense is that neither of those is going to make it into the final.
It's going to make it to the next.
Does that
vote.
annoy you?
No.
Sense, does that annoy you?
Hey? It's notable that I didn't like either one of those.
It's notable. All right. Time now for the Gem of the Day, brought to you by our great friends over United Sport and Cycle. They might have the best animation in the podcast. Zuby, you outdid yourself there with the Gem of the Day. Shop their Black Friday sales for amazing deals on hockey gear, sticks, skates, bikes, accessories, and more. Check them online at unitedsport.ca. Friendly staff, super knowledgeable. The whole crew over at United Sport and Cycle. Just an iconic store that's been around forever in this city, and we are so happy to have them on board as one of the sponsors here on the podcast. Do we have a Gem of the Day, Struz? I got one in mind for you, but what are you thinking, man? You got something picked?
Well, first, just about United Cycle. I saw Barry and the gang. They play hockey after my son practices Thursday morning. And I saw Barry in there. Barry's doing his stick up, and I got to go over there and find out what his stats, because he was talking pretty big about his stats. So I'll have to check it out.
Big talker.
Now, as far as the Gem of the Day, there's no one I love calling more than my own number, because I say something so great on this podcast. But
I'm calling your number too.
Well, someone else nailed it. And I'm going with Nick, because he's going to Pint tonight to take a peek. Well done, Nick.
Well
Great
done,
job.
Nick. Gem of the day brought to you by United Sport and Cycle. You know the one I was going to point to?
What's that?
McLeod put it off the goalie's knob. I mean, we didn't pause as long as we needed to.
No.
But another soundbite for the file, for the Strutty file.
Yeah. Well, one time on Gregor's show, I said the Ford beat off the D-man.
He beat off the D-man?
Getting off the wall, coming off the wall, he beat off the D-man. And like as soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, oh my God. And I could hear Connor just howling in the background. It was so funny. And it makes sense. You beat, anyways.
Do you have any idea it's happening as it's happening? Like the minute you've said it, what was the other one the other day about the balls in your mouth? Or like you've had a few doozies already.
The meatballs. There's no way, man. I'll never have another meatball in this mouth. I'm done. I'm done.
Love it. Great job on the pod today, Zuby. Strutty, you as well. Really want to thank everybody that joined us on the stream. We had a real solid showing today. It's a Friday afternoon, maybe not the ideal time to do a live stream, but we have some faithful live streamers here on Got Your Back. So a huge thank you to those of you that join us. And we love interacting with you and getting all your comments in. Thanks to all of you that are listening to us in podcast form as well. Maybe it's Saturday morning and you're out walking the dog, taking a listen. Thanks to you. If you get a chance, head over to iTunes and leave us a review. We would love to know what you think of the podcast. We're going to drop another one Sunday night after the game. Have a fantastic weekend, and we will chat then. Cheers, everybody.